Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cinema D'Amore. I'm your host, Chuck, joined by
Justin.
This week we're talking about, we're gonna go for a nice walk around the park, talking about
a walk to remember
movie. Yeah, The Long Walk, the newest millionth Stephen King adaptation.
I think the first adaptation of The Long Walk, though.
It is the first one, yeah. I don't know why. I kept thinking there was another one that like I was like, nah, I feel like there was one before that like I don't remember the plot of. But I think I was just thinking of, because again, it's kind of funny. In the same year, we got a remake of The Running Man and The Running Man and The Long Walk. The fact that the titles are basically polar opposites, but they're kind of the exact same story, but they take the story in two completely different directions. Of this is what happens in the future when the government controls everything and poverty's out of control, and The Running Man goes in the direction of like futuristic sci-fi game show. They're both game shows, basically.
They're both reality TV.
They're both reality TV, but they're completely different takes on that. The Running Man's this like hyper fast, everyone's gone crazy, futuristic society where everyone's kind of a scumbag and hates everybody, and The Long Walk's like, no, it's the 70s, and yeah, stuff just sucks, and everyone's poor. It's slow and methodical, but the fact that we got both those movies in the same year, I mean, Stephen King, he does like to do the same plot multiple times in his books. He'll repeat plot points, but do them slightly differently, and I think this might be one of the biggest examples of just the same idea, but, well, which way do you want to think about it? Do you want, like, super quick-paced action, or you want, like, really slow tension?
Yeah.
And I thought they were both good. They're both good movies in their own way. They came out both last year. I don't think either one of them was, like, a huge, massive success. I think they both did well enough, but they're both good. I like them both.
It says it grossed $63 million on a $20 million budget, so maybe it came out.
That's decent enough on a pretty low budget. I don't think The Running Man definitely had a much higher budget.
Yeah.
And I don't think it made as much money.
I feel like it had that probably have one of Edgar Wright's highest budgets.
Yeah. That movie had a $110 million budget and made $69 million. So way higher budget and made basically the same amount of money. So yeah, The Long Walk was the more successful of the two movies.
Yeah, and I didn't really want another Running Man, but I liked Edgar Wright's Running Man a lot better than the one with Schwarzenegger.
It was good. I did like the callback to Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That he's like the face on the money, that he's the president or whatever. I did like that kind of throwaway joke that he's on all the money. I did like that, and I did think it was a pretty good movie. I like Glenn Powell. I thought the cast was good. Edgar Wright's good, but that was I think that was always a weird one to do a remake of, because I don't think anyone was clamoring for another Running Man movie.
I mean, it's closer to the book, but they still don't stick to the end, which has a very 9/11 type ending where he crashes his plane into the corporation building to like get rid of them. So, I mean, that's happened a lot with Stephen King. I think I don't know if they're all. I have the Bachman books, which is Rage. I think The Long Walk.
Rage, Long Walk's in it.
Is it The Running Man in that too?
That no one ever. No, I don't think The Running Man was in that, because I think I thought he wrote that one under his own name. No, sorry, I do stand corrected. It is in the same book.
It's like these are the ones that
And Roadworks, the other one. That was the one I couldn't remember.
Yeah, these tend to be like the plots that like he disowned Rage because Rage is just about kid that shoots up his school.
It's a school shooter fantasy.
Yeah, it's a school.
There's not even really a point to it. It's just hey, back in the day when kids weren't shooting up schools on a weekly basis, it was like, hey, crazy idea. What if a kid took a gun to school? That'd be super wild, wouldn't it? And now it's like that book doesn't even sound implausible at all.
I mean, the time that book was written too, kids were bringing guns to school anyways. people brought their hunting
They'd be
rifles.
like, "Oh yeah, I'm going hunting after
Yeah,
school" or something like that, or they had it in the gun rack in the truck in the back, and it just wasn't even a weird thing in like the South or more rural areas.
exactly. And that's probably where it was like they could do a lot of damage if you think about it. Although I don't think he really, I doubt that that book that didn't really like influence anybody to do that. To do that,
Like no
it's
one read that and was suddenly
nobody
like,
read the book. Yeah,
yeah. Same
yeah,
way, Marilyn Manson didn't make people want to go to school shootings, and playing Doom didn't really wasn't the real cause of making people want to go kill kids. But yeah, The Long Walk.
yeah. The
It's
Long Walk.
I
I
feel like it's one of I don't always like Francis Lawrence as the director, and honestly, this might be like the best movie I've seen him do.
I don't know what
I don't
he's
really
done it
care for
besides
most of it.
every
I
single
Am
Hunger Games except
Legend.
like the first one, right?
He did I Am Legend, and his other Water for Elephants, I think, is his
Oh, I
too.
did like Water for Elephants. I mean,
Constantine.
oh
Constantine's
man,
not it's not terrible, but I think he's like a pretty middling like
middling.
director for the most part. Like he's like not a ton of his things are super exciting. Like you said, he's done most of the Hunger Games stuff. That's probably his biggest claim to fame at this point. But I thought this honestly, out of all of his movies that I've seen, this is probably the movie of his I've enjoyed the best. He does a good job with it. I think all the actors are good in it, especially Cooper Hoffman and with David Johnson.
Yeah, I think that they are really, really high caliber actors for their age. Like they're both really, really good in almost everything that I've seen them in.
I mean, definitely, I think between this and Alien Romulus is probably why David Johnson's going to be Black Panther now.
Black Panther the Third.
Yeah.
Every Black Panther movie is just a new Black Panther at this point. No, I think the only problem. I love this story. I think as far as like adaptation goes and all the changes, like they brought the kids down. They like have the kids instead of like 100, there's 50, and they made some other like minor changes for whatever reason. Like they downed the speed to like 3 instead of 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I read that because it was like 'cause Stephen King, or like I think even as the writers, I think he suggested it. The thing I saw was because he was like, yeah, actually, 4 miles per hour is insane. Like for like, to expect people to walk 4 miles an hour, they're like the average walking speed of most people is 3, so 4 would like take them out in half the time.
Yeah, and I think like the biggest problem that this movie suffers from, it probably it has to fall back on Francis Lawrence, is that it's so static. Like almost the entirety of the movie is this like a medium two shot or multi shot from them walking towards the camera, like the entire time,
Yeah,
and like they'll cut like occasionally to make it like not as insane. They'll like cut away to like things on the side of the road every once in a while, people watching, animals, stuff like that. But like I was like, you would think that they could have at least one scene in this entire movie where maybe the camera just fucking moves around the people a little bit more.
he's not Terrence Malick.
No, no, but like something, because everything's so static.
Yeah,
It's just like jump cut, jump cut, jump. Well, they're not jumping too much, but it's just like cut to this, cut to this, cut to this, cut to this. And I think the thing that helps save it really is the actors. Like, you have to be invested in what they're saying and what they're doing the entire time. And I feel like there's a few tweaks they could have done to make this like a stronger movie. I don't know what I would have done, but I would think when I saw the final cut of this movie, I'd be like, man, we needed to do just something a little bit more.
yeah. It's a tough one. Like I know what you're saying, and I can see it too. But it is kind of one of those. Yeah, maybe it really would have taken a very like a hyper imaginative or super visual director to try to come up with something, because it is what it is. Like the story is they're walking down a highway through more or less through all these rural areas. They kind of like a bunch of the kids complain about like, It's fucking trees everywhere. There's nothing but fucking trees. There's nothing to even look at here. This place sucks. Like, so they comment on the fact that like the background never changes, which helps in a sense that they can film things. They could walk down the same road for 20 shots in the movie and you'd never know they're on the exact same spot because everything just looks the same anyway. So,
It's kind
but
of
yeah,
a
I
good
know what you're
looking movie
saying.
still though. Like the color grading and everything, it looks nice. But yeah, like some of the stuff, like maybe like you said, it's the poverty, but it's like there's a lot of kids that decided to do the long walk with like Converse on or like very uncomfortable shoes, and I was like, you guys, like you needed to figure something out. Like at the like that one kid in the beginning who loses, the rules give them warnings and they have X amount of time and their slate will be cleaned in like 3 hours, and the one kid like starts with a rock in his shoe, which I mean, what the fuck, dude? Like you just started the race. When they were like push through, and I'm sort of like, I don't know, maybe he's smarter to try to get that thing out of his shoe in the very beginning, you know? I think almost in this movie, like everything that we see as far as like the kids getting taken out, almost everyone that we see is taken out for a different reason, or we just don't see them get taken out. They're like more like background characters.
Yeah.
They don't follow. But
It was like the one scene in the middle of the night's good where they're all like going up the hill and Cooper Hoffman's character gets screwed over because he kind of like falls asleep while he's walking and he kind of gets caught up and he gets to his final warnings and he's like worn out and then he looks at the sign that's like road grade steep and he's like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This is where I got my warnings on like the steep road grade. Like, what the hell? Like, and that's when it's like you just hear gunshots going off all around in the middle of the night and it's kind of like they cut to the morning. It's like, what happened? And it's like they shot like 14 kids last night.
yeah, and I think that's another thing in the story that's hard to translate the film is like the rules. Like they really have to go over the rules, or like like our for our sake, the kids very early are like, fuck the camera that's broadcasting us live to everybody. Thank you for pointing that out so like the audience understands what's happening, but
Yeah,
it's a very weird weird way to like include that. But I do think that he did a good job at like capturing that age group of boys and like how they would talk about amongst themselves. I think that like that. I mean, King's always been good about that. He really does capture like that. Like kids can be a pieces of shit. So they're not like you might not like as an adult. You don't see them talking like this, but this is exactly how we talked when we were in school. So it's a very realistic dialogue, I guess, between them.
yeah. I do love that it is super realistic, and it's almost one of those as kind of gross as it is, they do flat out get into how like all the ideas of how bad this walk would be. Like within like the first 10 miles or something, the one guy's like, God, what happens if you have to take a shit? Like, what happens? And they're like, you better fucking hurry or you're gonna get killed. And then almost immediately there's a guy shitting in the middle of the road because he's like, oh God, I got diarrhea, man. I can't help it. Can't stop myself. And he's just shitting all over the place. And then they eventually
But
kill
then
him.
they
And
like walk through it because
he's
the
just dead in his
blocking's
own shit.
weird. Yeah, they're just like
But yeah,
yeah, they do like another like passing of time thing is like being like, oh, it's mile this and mile that. And like I do have questions about certain things. I mean, I guess like whenever they're like in the very beginning, they said that they don't have an audience because the major doesn't like it, who's Mark Hamill's character. He, but you'll see them towards the end of the walk, and I don't know if that's supposed like to be like a set place that they assume that they're gonna make it to, or like when they're down to like 10, they're like, fuck it, we're gonna we're gonna start flying people in to the space where they can watch it.
that's what I kind of just assume that it's like when people get to like down to like that low of amount of people, they probably start to figure out like, well, they'll probably be down to this many once they hit this point. But
Like, and I also think too, I had a hard time with Mark Hamill's character. Like, he was clearly supposed to be like an Arlie Ermy type. When I see Mark Hamill, I just it feels like acting to me. Like, I just don't see him being a insane soldier type person. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily think he should have been like stereotyped. I'm glad that he got a job and he got the role and everything, but or like that guy from like Avatar that's like the he's the military man. Like they needed somebody genuinely like terrifying, I guess. But yeah, they do. They go through it pretty much everything that you can think of. I kind of the only thing that they really didn't do, like, I guess, is that they should have maybe killed somebody for like talking bad about their government, because that was kind of a thing where they'd be like, "Don't let them hear you, or else they'll take you out." When they start talking shit on the major or whatever.
Yeah, they let him get away with a little bit of stuff.
Yeah, they can't just execute them or super fast. Yeah, and all the other actors I think were fine. I at least do think that Francis Lawrence is good with kids, like child actors. I know these kids are a little bit older. I don't recognize all of them
Yeah, still
besides.
would be around the same age as like the Hunger Games characters, which I get. Really, when you do think about this, like it almost, I didn't even think about it until we started talking. I was like, damn it, this is just a Hunger Games story. They're like, because they're all tributes from their state, which is the Hunger Games is you're a tribute from your territory in the story, and you have to compete in a game. I was like, damn it, he just did a Stephen King Hunger Games version.
Maybe that's why he's been wanting to do it for so long.
He's like, I've already been making these movies. Just let me do the Stephen King version.
Did you watch It? Welcome to Derry.
No, I didn't watch the show.
The one kid in this who's like the Native American kid.
Yeah.
He got into that. So watch him be like the next I'm in 20,000 Stephen King adaptations. The one kid was Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
And
Recognize that. Yeah.
I didn't really recognize anybody.
He's like 3 feet taller than he was in Jojo Rabbit, but
yep, that's what happens. And that's what kills you, because you're just sort of like, you're like, this guy's really familiar. I'm like, oh, he's the 3 feet taller.
he's the kid. Yeah, he's the kid from. It's like a Walt in fucking Lost.
It was Walt, but he was 3 feet taller. Yeah,
But yeah, I do like the. I enjoy they're at least all very individual characters that do have distinct personalities. I like that the one kid ends up being. It kind of implies something that isn't flat out said when the last kid that's with them, Stebbins, is like, you want to know why I know so much about the walk? It's because, the major's my father. And he's like, I thought I was special, but apparently he's just got bastards all over the place. And there's almost like the implication that they always enter like the major or someone in the army or government like always enters someone that's been training to win it. Cause he kind of implies that yeah, I was like put in here as a patsy to win this whole thing and take over. Cause he says like, I'm the mechanical rabbit that runs at the racetrack that you can't catch. And that basically if he didn't get sick, which he's like never been sick for 10 years of his life, but all of a sudden the week of the walk, he gets sick and it's like slowly, killing him as he's going out there. But it's like implied that
and they were all like,
all
look
of the
at the
winners have
muscles
always
on
been
that guy. Look how strong he is. And I was
Yeah.
like, he wasn't actually like seemingly the most athletic part. Like, he looked athletic, but I think the kids mostly were like athletic to a little chubby or something. Like, there wasn't anybody that was like Cooper Hoffman's like the most out of shape character that there is. And then, I mean, like, even Johnson, he looked pretty like strong. Like, everybody else looked pretty fit. So I'm like, I don't really understand. Like, how do you of like this dystopian future? Obviously, you can, anything could happen. We see sprained ankles and shit, all kind of shit like that. But like, that'd be the easiest thing for maybe somebody that trained for. Just be like, I just fucking walk. I just been walking around my neighborhood for days, just training for this, walking uphill.
Forrest Gump. I just been walking. One day I just decided to walk.
Yeah, just like just some sort of plan. Yeah, and they have the kid in there that is like the crazy unhinged kid. They're like, we need one really unhinged person to be in this. He's like borderline sociopath, that kid, where like it's even creepy like towards the end where he like harasses a kid and the kid like terribly tries to like punch him for whatever reason like 3 times, so he gets all his warnings and gets shot. Sticks with the psycho character for the rest of the time, where he's just basically for the rest of the movie like, I didn't kill that kid, it's not my fault. But when he's having that conversation with Cooper Hoffman's character, like at the end, about being buddies and they need to be buddies, like he's just such an unhinged person.
Hey, how come he didn't ask me if I wanted to be in on the plan, man? I want to be on the plan.
Yeah, and I don't know what's the mile marker they like make it up to. They make it up to like mile marker 500 or something like that,
I was about to say, I think it's around like 500.
which just seems like an extremely long time. I mean, maybe they would make it that long. I almost feel like half of that, like that race would or whatever you want to call it, marathon would pretty much be over, before then. But
Yeah, I don't know what the average person could truly truly walk on. We only see them get like water, and they kind of have like some limited rations that they get every once in a while. But yeah, I don't know that most people without some serious insane training could walk 500 miles without any rest whatsoever.
or the kids that like bring stuff, like the psychopath brings his camera, and then there's a nerd
He's
kid.
got a radio.
There's a radio kid. There's a nerd kid that's writing everything down. I'm like, I know like a notebook and a pen isn't heavy, but after you're walking that long, like you
You wouldn't want anything. Yeah,
yeah,
you'd want
you
to shed
wouldn't
as
want
much weight as
any
possible.
extra weight on you at all. You would want it completely done.
Even carrying like the canteen of water would be like, you wouldn't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. I didn't even know about the shitting and stuff. Like, I just feel like, I mean, they tried to be proper and like at least not do it in their pants, but I felt like there'd be a character that's just like, fuck it, I'm shitting in my pants, or
Yeah.
there'd be somebody that wore a diaper, like it depends, or like there'd have to be something done. I mean, it's life or death. I'm not, I don't want to be gross or anything, but if it's shitting down my leg or being shot in the head, I guess I would probably shit down my leg and just
Yeah.
try to soldier through the best that I can. Because half those people were shitting and then getting shot, so like it didn't really pay off. I did like that the nerd kid too, that like, I don't know, stepped on his foot fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then they show him like 100 miles later and his foot's like all decayed. I was like,
His foot's just completely sideways at like a 90-degree angle.
yeah, like even if I stepped on my foot wrong, I get powering through, but I almost feel like it would be like I'd try to drag that thing or like reposition it the best I can. Or like that one kid takes the gun off the guy and kills one of the soldiers. It's like, that's not fair. That guy wasn't he was just a soldier, He didn't sign up for that shit. Actually, that'd be probably pretty embarrassing to be like a big military soldier and a child, more or less, got a gun and off of one of you and killed you.
Someone's got to send the report home. That's like, your husband died. It's like, how? Kid stole his gun.
I think too, like they could have probably got more into like what they've seen in the broadcast, and because like from my understanding, it's being broadcast for, this isn't the first time that it's been broadcast, so you can watch it apparently on television. Some of the kids seem surprised about the things that they're going through, and I think a lot of them would be like, yeah, I've watched this for the last couple years. I know what these people more or less go through, which I think would have been an interesting take if you had somebody like like you said, the Patsy type character that's the bastard son. If he was like, yeah, what you see on TV is not actually, like, they highly edit it, so like you don't really get to see what's happening,
Yeah.
Or like when we get to our finale where it's not really that surprising about who's left, because it's like the two strongest actors are the ones that are left. We do have like a little twist, I guess, as opposed to like who's the winner. But when you do get that winner and they're like, "What do you want?" He's like, "I want that carbine." And Mark Hamill's like, "Buddy, it's yours." He's like, "I want that one." He's like, just take it, man. It's yours." I think I would have been like, like, come on, you're not that dumb. Like, I would have been like, if you think you're gonna shoot me or something, this isn't gonna happen. Like, I'm not stupid. But I do like the idea of like trying to end the cycle too. Maybe things have changed by what he did. But I also get the feeling like, the winner gets their wish or whatever the hell it is, which it seems like some people get very arbitrary things for surviving that. But like, there's always obviously limitations to it or something.
That's what I think. Well, that's what he said. Like, I know Cooper Hoffman says, like they won't give you anything they won't let you do anything that would actually like change the games. Like the one, I think he has it, David Johnson's character that's like, I'll tell them that they need to let two people win. That way, you and your friend can survive or something. And they're like, they'll never do that. They'll never do anything that would like give you hope or something in the game. They'll never do anything that'll change, which that's why his plan is like, well, it won't directly change things, but like maybe it possibly could inspire people to change things if he shoots the major. But I would say very much seems implied that probably does, like, shooting the major probably doesn't do anything. All it would do is next time, like you said, they'd just be more selective and be like, all right, cross that off the list. Definitely don't give the winner a gun immediately after he wins. Like it's
Don't
one of
give the
those.
winner a gun, and we won't even like talk about this. We'll just be like, the
Yeah,
major died in his sleep. We got a new major now.
yeah. Like you said, it's like they'll edit it so that no one even realizes that he died or something like that. They can just sweep it under the rug.
Right. Which I'm surprised, like, I almost feel like, see, this is the part where I'm like, I don't really know if it works in the story. I like the idea of them almost strictly following our characters from the beginning of the walk to the end of the walk. And they do cut outside of it a little bit too, where they show Cooper Hoffman's past, and like he has this like revenge plot that wasn't in the book. But yeah, I mean, like, there's like a lot of different things that you could have done with it. This kind of ends in an ambiguous way where it's like, did he change anything? They could have went to the end of like done something like The Mist, where the book The Mist, they just go out into the mist. In the movies, like, we're gonna go a little bit farther and give you the old wild ass ending. And they could have done something similar with this, like showed more what's gonna happen to the winner, or maybe they execute the winner or
I think
something.
I feel like it's implied that they definitely killed him, because
Hmm.
if you like the end very much seems, because after he shoots the major, everything kind of just disappears. It's like everyone disappears around him, and he kind of just walks off into like this empty street, which
Yeah,
felt like it was
like
to
he's
me.
dead
I read that
already.
as like that as soon as he killed the major, like somebody shot him in the back of the head, and then he just kind of like walked off, and he can only hope that he changed something. Like he'll never even know if he actually changed something, which I guess is, I feel like it's why they don't show anything. It's kind of like you just have to go by your own thought. Is like, I don't know, do you think he changed things, or do you think it just went on the
The
same?
long
Like,
walk too. Since
yeah, walk
Pete
harder.
Pete didn't change anything. Actually, I think if they did a sequel, it would probably be like how we discussed. The new characters wouldn't even know what transpired, even though it was televised. They wouldn't know that a previous winner was killed or whatever. I mean, obviously, like, you can't, like, how they give them money and stuff too. I feel like that's not realistic in this world either. Like, if you're like, I'm gonna be super rich and I'm gonna take care of my family and some of the other families of loved ones who died.
Well, yeah, because they definitely imply that like the whole country's poor, like they don't have any money because of, they keep referencing the Great War, but they don't necessarily say exactly what all that was. It seems to be a civil war of some type happened, but Well, that's what goes back to, they don't flat out say it, but when the kid that's the major's son talks about it, again, it seems to be implied that like probably all the people that were previous winners never actually got that money, or they're probably like quietly like shoved off and probably killed in secret or something.
Yeah,
It was
that's what I
probably,
was
if
thinking.
anybody asked, they would just say, "Oh, well, they won their millions of dollars. They don't live here anymore. They moved to a different country because they got
They
their
went up to
millions of
the farm
dollars.
to live.
Yeah, they're somewhere else now." So that's how I also read that, but specifically is like that's the fact that yeah, how could they be doing this for the past, I think they say this is like the 19th or something like that, maybe. I feel like they say what number it is, but it definitely feels like, yeah, how could they be giving a winner millions and millions of dollars every year when they claim the country's so poor that they don't have any money to give people. So I kind of read it as that it's that probably there's not actually any winners. They're either a fake, like that's been trained to win the thing like the major son, or if a random winner did somehow win, they're probably like killed off screen or once the
Or
cameras
there's
stop
like a
rolling and
like
no one knows.
utopian place for like the richest
Yeah.
people. But I also felt too, I wasn't thinking Civil War. I think maybe because of our current situation with us in like Iran, I'm thinking like, it could have been like a Vietnam type thing where like just all the resources and everything, just didn't
Yeah.
pay off in the war,
They
and
just
the
yeah, they
mismanagement
don't
of.
say yeah, they don't say, they just keep saying like they keep saying the big war, but they don't say like exactly what that means.
And there's obviously like some sort of militia that's it's definitely like a military controlled state. There's I would also say not just because they call it the lottery, but it makes me think this is Stephen King's take on Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, because
Yeah.
I think this also plays out where I don't know, maybe they don't do a good job at it, but they don't really like, you're not really supposed to know that getting your ticket punched means that you're going to be killed until the first kid's killed. But also the first kid's like extremely worried about having his ticket punched. Also, I think you see like the military with their guns and shit too, so it's a little weird and something's up, and they're like, "Hey, you can't back out of it." I mean, this movie has 2 title cards. They title card when the first kid gets killed. They title card again at the credits. But I would
Really
say
want you to know.
overall, with every issue that I have, I do think this is one of the stronger Stephen King adaptations. I love Stephen King, and I think he can get away with a lot just in his writing, and the adaptations are hit or miss. And like, there's things I'm super excited about that they just dropped the ball, and then sometimes there's things that I'm like, I don't even care about this story so much, but they did do such a good job at adapting it. It always tends to be the smaller stuff, like The Life of Chuck. I think like the novellas, the shorter stories are easier for people to just kind of make a better adaptation out of. Like
Yeah.
literally the worst I can think of. Well, not even like, there's things that have terrible acting and are
I
just
mean, the
cheese.
Dark Tower is the worst.
That's what I was gonna bring up. I think that's the worst for like, we have all this information and we're gonna make the shortest, like least dense movie, the most
Yeah.
simplistic movie, like of all movies that should be
We're gonna
simplest.
we're gonna try to combine plot elements from like 10 books and short stories and novellas into 1 hour and a half movie and call it a day.
Yeah, and you're gonna be like, you know what? That's a pretty good Roland, but that's about it. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
They pulled off his thing that he did where he shuffled the bullet between his fingers real fast. I was like, okay, that actually turned out pretty good. So that and the casting of Roland and nothing else. Like, Matthew McConaughey was terrible. They jumped straight into like some of the end stuff, like the stuff that's coming up in the end of the series. Apparently it's up to Mike Flanagan, maybe. I don't know. They're like, he has the show. He's developing right now, but he also did Carrie, and he's gonna do The Mist again. And I'm like, just fucking do the Dark Tower. What is the problem with the Dark Tower? Are they waiting until they're done with the Ring of Power shit? They're like, all our money's allocated into Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
we can only afford a couple of these big shows at a time. We got Fallout and Rings of Power going right now. Well, that's taking up a lot of our money.
I mean, I think that's kind of realistic because that even feels like what's happening with HBO. Like HBO has their season where it's House of the Dragon, but the next year it's like The Last of Us. Like they're just cycling it. So it's like every 3 years,
They've got the money somewhere because have you watched Lanterns yet?
I have watched Lanterns. I thought Lanterns. I think it's great so far. It's 2 episodes in at
I
the
think
time
it's
of this.
good, but it's good, but I will 100% say it definitely feels like a case of our money's tied up somewhere because it feels like they keep coming up with every reason for why you haven't seen the Green Lantern do anything remotely interesting with that ring when he has a ring that can do anything, and it's just like it's low on battery. Gotta go get that charger somewhere. I'm like, you're like coming up with any reason to not show that ring do anything
I don't think
cool
it's a
because you do
budget
not
thing.
have it in the budget.
I don't feel like it's a budget thing as much as it is trying to not
I
be
think it'll lead
too
somewhere story
crazy.
wise.
Like not too
I think it'll
crazy.
lead somewhere story wise because it's gonna be. I feel like the implication. We're going off track, but I'm gonna
That's
bring it
okay.
up
Go
because
ahead.
I feel
Lanterns.
like it's supposed to be implied that Hal Jordan's like not obviously it's kind of he's not the same Green Lantern that he was years ago, but he's still like holding on to it and won't give it up, despite the fact that we've already been shown by this episode that Jon Stewart seems to be better at being a Green Lantern. Like he makes that bird in the second episode, and he's able to control it, despite the fact that he's not even wearing the lantern ring anymore. And they're kind of like, yeah, I don't know, that's a pretty strong power, like to be able to do something like that when not even wearing the ring. So it's like I think it's definitely seems to be implied that Hal Jordan, even when the ring's charged, like maybe he just doesn't have the full power of the Green Lantern. He doesn't want to admit it to anybody because as soon as he admits it, they're gonna like be like, well, you got to give that ring up now and give it to someone that can actually use it if you can't do strong things with it anymore. So I feel like I don't think it's a 100% budget thing, but I think it'll relate story wise. But the first couple episodes, I'm like, God, he's not doing anything cool with that ring yet. Come on, man.
Yeah, and when I saw it was produced by Linda Loff, I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Especially now that we have like 3 factions of undercover aliens or something on top of like this lantern lore that you could maybe have a good idea of if you if you don't know anything about lanterns but you saw the Green Lantern movie from 10 years ago or whenever the hell that came out.
Yeah.
But it's all like there's a secret bad guy. It's like I don't know, it's probably the sheriff if I were to guess. I'm going to assume, I mean, we don't have very many characters to go by at this point besides like the ultra shady, what's that guy's name? Like Garrett something or other, that character
Garrett
actor that's in like
Bond.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. It might turn out better than we thought, but I definitely feel like it's one of those things where they're trying not to be as ridiculous of a character as he is. I can make anything out of my ring that's imaginary, and they're trying to take it like they're trying to make it as grounded as possible, as opposed to the other lantern we see in this new. Did you see the new Superman movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Nathan Fillion's character, where he's just making like the weirdest shit to fight, like he's like a psychopath. Like I'm just making big ass hands that are gonna be flipping people off and hitting them and shit like that. But yeah, that really got sidetracked pretty bad there. But anyways, that's what happens when you don't fucking make the Dark Tower. We go on tangents because we have to, because you want to make your own tangents. Whole tangent universe shit. It's important to the Dark Tower. It won't make sense until they make the show and you watch it, or you've read the books, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll
Just
see.
read the books at this point. don't hold out for that adaptation. Just read the books.
At least you can read the books and know. I like even the third Talisman book's coming out, and Stephen King's like, it's the third and final Talisman book, and it's also like the final book of Dark Tower. But I think that just depends on if Stephen King's alive or not, because he's in his 80s. I think he didn't necessarily say he was retiring, but he basically was like, I have 2 books left, like 2 books for sure. One of them is
Two books for sure, and if he's still alive after those two books come out, we'll see what happens.
yeah, maybe he'll make another book. I also feel
Yeah.
I've said it before, but if you've ever read or watched Bag of Bones, the book's much better. But the idea of that the artist or that the author could pen more books than the one book that they were allowed to publish a year. So like that writer basically has writer's block and he's going into his safe like every year and grabbing a manuscript that he wrote like however many years ago. So I almost feel like if Stephen King goes, whenever he does, I feel like there's going to be like a few stories that they're going to find. I mean, plus, what was that other one? Lisi's story where the guy's all crazy. Like, I know he wrote more books and he's, going after the wife trying to get these manuscripts because the world deserves these books. But yeah, he's got one more Dark Tower book, one more Holly book, and then if he's alive still, I guess he'll do another book. The guy can't relax. He already tried retiring once. I like where he's like, I can't not write. I need to keep doing it. And the other funny thing to me is after his really bad accident, where he got hit with that van in 1999 and he survived, and like his epiphany was like, fuck, I better finish this Dark Tower books. But yeah, the Long Walk, I think it's a fine adaptation. I think I would have just liked to see some more like interesting blocking, something with the camera, something that's just changing the shot up somewhat so it wasn't so static and just people walking towards the camera. That's not what we got.
Yeah.
And what's Francis doing next? Is he doing the new Hunger Games?
It's another Hunger Games. Yep.
he's
sequel to the prequel.
The sequel to the prequel, but it's not like a direct sequel. It's like a couple decades off or something. That is fucking funny. Susan Collins, or I think she's just gonna write a Hunger Games book like every couple years. And we're like, yeah, there's another one. Oh, I do see this thing too about the Constantine sequel. Like maybe he will direct that if they do decide to make it.
Yeah, Keanu's trying.
Keanu's trying, but it also seems like Keanu's just like asked about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess I would like that." Like, is it?
Like, I would do it if he's like, all he's saying is like, I would do it if the studio asks about it, but then the studio's like, we're not asking about it. And he's like, well, I guess it's not gonna happen then.
The only thing that like he really seemed to like hard trying to get it to work was a third Bill and Ted, where he was just like, me and Alex were like, we got to figure out a way to get this to work. Oh man, but yeah, R.I.P. Arlie Ermy. You would have been great in this. We're definitely going places with these two leads. Cooper Hoffman, he's actually very, very good. I mean, I don't know if it's in that Hoffman blood. He's obviously, did you see that he's in that weird I Want Your Sex movie where it's like a bondage thing with his, like, he learned from his dad. Yeah. I saw something too. You didn't see Happiness yet, did you?
No.
Yeah, his dad does a bunch of fucking weird shit in that, and they asked him if did you see that movie, and he's like, "Yep, saw my dad doing shit that I wish I never saw him do." Who's better, Cooper Hoffman or the Gandolfini kid?
Probably Cooper Hoffman.
Gandolfini's Junior's not bad either.
Not bad.
They need to be in more movies together because they do feel like the same person. I'm like always momentarily like, oh, that's Hoffman, not Gandolfini, or that's Gandolfini, not Hoffman. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking up the director here. I was just trying to see if he was doing that other Hunger Games, which you said he was, and it says he is too. But there's a lot of stuff in here about his projects that like just never happened. Like he kept trying to do. Survivor, the Palahniuk book. He likes weird shit.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. Holy shit, his first movie was Constantine. Where the hell's his like really bad movie? What happened to it?
I don't think he hasn't made like a flat out terrible movie.
No, he hasn't.
They're just not all like
I don't know
best.
what Slumberland is, but like usually your first first movie is like the worst, you know?
Yeah.
But also he's turned into that guy from David Yates, who was just doing all Harry Potter movies.
Just did every Harry Potter movie and all the prequel Harry Potter movies, and I'm sure he's attached to produce the TV show or something like that.
Yeah, and that's like a weird thing too.
That's
where
his thing. Like I don't think any of his movies are terrible, but yeah, it's like but all he does, most of what he does anymore is just Hunger Games. So that depends on if you consider that to be terrible, that he just does Hunger Games when he could probably make something better.
Yeah, and then like I don't blame him either, because I'm sure it's a good payday to do these movies, and he's competent. So for them,
There's a lot of adaptations. I mean, they're all almost pretty much everything he does is a book. Like Constantine's a comic book, Long Walk's an adaptation, Hunger Games is all adaptations, Water for Elephants was a book. Like he's just adapting.
I'm looking at all his shit that he wanted to do. He's all over the fucking place. So like he wanted to do Survivor for Palahniuk, that fell through. He wanted to do an I Am Legend prequel, that fell through. I see that he wanted to do like a Marco Polo film, and a Harry Houdini film, and those both fell through. He wants to do the Constantine sequel, which I feel probably is likely. Apparently, he was trying to do an Odyssey movie with Hugh Jackman, but that fell through. He wanted to do The Last Duel, which ended up becoming a Ridley Scott movie. He wanted to do a Battlestar Galactica movie. He was behind BioShock at some point. He wanted to do a documentary on the band Sublime. I don't know. He's got a lot of shit here. Or like the things that
let him do anything.
There was a Logan's Run remake. I guess he was asked to do Gangster Squad, but he didn't do that. And then he didn't do The Unbroken, which was also a novel, but Angelina Jolie did that. Just in case if you want to know where I'm finding this on, it's on the Wikipedia page called Francis Lawrence's Unrealized Projects. And there's a lot of them. But yeah, even the things I haven't heard of, they're like, it's a film adaptation of a graphic novel. It's a film adaptation of this. So you're right. That's definitely what he's good at. I don't know. Hopefully he's listening to this, or somebody who's going to hire him. He's competent. He might not be the most exciting, but I don't think he's far from terrible. Like, I've seen some very, very consistently terrible directors, and he's not one of them.
Yeah.
Looks like we're all out of time. We actually don't time this. We just talk until we're talked out. How long we would last in the walk. I don't think I could walk as long as those people. But I feel like realistically, if all I was trying to do was outwalk people, I could probably get pretty far. You know, when this movie came out too, they had a weird screenings where like you got to see the movie for free. I think it was free, but you had to do it on a treadmill, and if you couldn't walk 3 miles per hour the whole movie, which really is not that bad. An hour 40 is like the length of this movie. For 3 miles per hour is it feels pretty reasonable. The only thing I think would really suck is like, I think you would just hear a bunch of people huffing and puffing and like treadmill. You'd have people like, I'm gonna fucking sprint the whole time. So you'd hear like, it would just be obnoxious, a movie experience, I'm pretty sure. But you know what? Maybe that's what all us fatties in America need. We need to start watching our movies while we're on treadmills. It's the only way we're gonna stay healthy, man. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
This is Cinema d'Amore. Follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for upcoming episodes. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and wherever podcasts are heard. Subscribe, rate, review, and above all else,